Hello and welcome to the Integrated Life Show, an extraordinary show which is for you to enjoy and live the integrated life. Remember, life is full of elements, some surprises and some are planned, and that's exactly what we are here to share how to balance, integrate, and enjoy those elements to live the integrated life full of sense of fulfillment, happiness, and gratitude. So, this is Sagar Amlani and Bharti Nayak welcoming you once again on Tuesday at 9 p.m. India Standard Time. So, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning for wherever you're joining us from. Hi, Bharti.
Hey Sagar, so it is so lovely and exciting. I simply wait for Tuesdays to come in, and really it gives that amazing feeling to go live sharp at 9 p.m. and meet everybody who have come live to be with us on this talk show. And yes, the Integrated Life talk show has really put it that mark in many people's lives. And that's what we've been hearing from so many of our friends, our colleagues, our clients. Those, the moment we meet them, they keep talking about, oh, we have seen your talk show. It is wonderful. We have learned this thing. So we keep on getting those kind of feedback from everybody, and that is really exciting for us. Yes.
Absolutely no doubt about it. And to tell you, we have crossed overall all the viewership, we have crossed a mark of 27,000 viewers.
Oh, that is lovely. Hi, Firdaus. He's from Delhi. He has joined. Lovely to have you at the talk show. So, last episode, last week, we spoke about something which was very important element to live an integrated life, and that was about Kaizen. The Kaizen that stands for knowledge, awareness, interest, Zoom, enthusiasm, and nourish. And the whole concept is a Japanese term that's based on the acronym that is PDCA: plan, do, check, and act. And you put this acronym or this concept in any situation of your life, in any area of your life, it gives you results. And that is where, when we say that you apply Kaizen in your life, you apply PDCA in your situations, you do this with the proactive approach and with the productive mindset that you have, because you need to be very focused with the goals. And yes, in that episode we did share a lot of examples, lot of stories about how you can apply this concept in your different areas of your lives. And one of the example I remember was, we spoke about health, and we did say that it's an incremental continuous change that you keep bringing in your lifestyle, in your daily routine, that will give you results. Because if you start making changes, like all of a sudden bombarding yourself with so many changes at a time, the you get confused, and in that process you fall flat. And hence the Kaizen helps. So if you have not watched that episode, if you have not downloaded the PDF that we have made with so much of brainstorming, please go and watch that video. You can go to the website, which is www.theintegratedlife.co.in. You'll have all the episodes, and you can go to each episode and watch the show. Once you are finished with the show and you find it very interesting, you can email us. You can write your reviews or your feedback, whatever comes to your mind, your questions if you have, and download the PDF, which is there absolutely for you. Yes, Sagar.
Bang on. Thank you so much for giving that wonderful recap on Kaizen. And I'm sure you all have heard about it, you know it, but it's very simple to implement it, and that's exactly what the checklist helps you for. That brings us to today's episode, which is learn to say no. But do you know something? That it's very difficult to say no because we have been brought up that way. We've been brought up in a way where saying no is considered rude. Saying no is considered being very bad. Saying no is also considered saying that, oh, this guy is so mean, he's so selfish. But you know, the fear of saying no is also called as autophobia. Yes, my friend, the fear of saying no is called autophobia. And that fear of saying no also stems from the root where we are inculcated that we should avoid conflicts, we should avoid confrontation. And we've been told that saying no is something which is very rude. But my dear friends, please know that James Clear, the author, says saying no is a luxury to live and control your life back in your hands. And that's exactly what we are going to talk today about, how to say no. Now, I'm sure you must have experienced about different vendors, or when you place order with someone, or if you're in a corporate, or if you're in manufacturing, sometimes when your machinery cannot take more orders, your production is full, or if the mechanic in the garage is loaded with a lot of cars, or even a small vendor or a small baker is full with orders, they turn down and politely say no. They say, my machine does not have any further capacity than this. My production does not have any capacity for this month. I will be able to serve you next month or the coming month. And they say no. Now imagine if machines, if productions, and if systems are being respected so much, if they don't have the capacity, they say no because they are aware of what they can do. And so are humans. We are well beyond those boundaries. We are not machines, we are human beings. Can't we say no to save our energy, our time, our emotions? Sometimes we say no when it's conflict of interest, conflict of our values, conflict of our ethics. And that's exactly what we are going to dwell today for all the points in the show. So stay tuned with us, because we will not only tell you why you should say no, what you should do about saying no, but we will also share the secrets of how you can say no politely and still maintain the cordial relationships. Over to you, Bharti.
Very, very rightly you mentioned, Sagar, that machines have a capacity. And I remember last month when we had Raksha Bandhan. Uh, Before that, few days back, I went to my vendor and I asked him for the packaging material, the boxes, and because I wanted to curate a hamper for Raksha Bandhan. And with very politeness, with a lot of respect, he refused my order. And I felt bad. I said, why you're refusing a business? You are getting a bulk order and this is a business. You're here to do business and you're saying no for it. And he said that, ma'am, I will have to say no. And he literally did like this. And I said, I will have to say no because my machines have a capacity. I have a bandwidth and I have a capacity to produce certain things and take the orders and deliver it. And if I have committed to already orders that I've taken, I should respect that and put that into, I should deliver it on time and give it with that quality that they have trusted me rather than keep on taking or saying yes to the incoming business that is coming over again and again and then fall flat and go in that firefighting mode of I'm not able to complete one order, I'm not able to finish the quality, not able to give boxes on time. So I don't want to do that kind of mess. So it is better that I um, take orders, fulfill it with utmost quality and the time delivery that I have promised, and keeping that commitment and trust between both of us. So, hence, I would really be saying no for your business. But Diwali is round the corner, and you have me. So, once the Raksha Bandhan thing over, please, if you can manage it this time. But yes, Diwali is round the corner. Once the Raksha Bandhan gets over, connect with me immediately ASAP, and we'll work it out and we'll plan it beforehand. We will do everything beforehand so that even you don't have a firefighting situation, even you are completely before the times that you want to, and same would be with me. So I'll be very happy to pick up your Diwali order. And that was a it was an eye opener for me, of course, and that was a very different way of handling clients, way of handling customers, saying no and not saying no, keeping up the future business promises. But yes, when you have the bandwidth, you have the bandwidth. When you do not have the bandwidth, you know your boundaries, you know your capacities, you know what you can take. And you also know what you can deliver with the quality, with the commitment. And remember, keeping that trust factor in mind. That is very important between you and the person with whom you are dealing. So when you say no, it is at the same time maintaining the trust element that you have between two people, and you're saying no. And that's
Brilliant.
why we are here with this episode. Yes, Sagar.
That's a brilliant example. And here are one of our friend, Firdos Malik, is asking, how do we help illiterate people to use this acronym? So, Malik, my dear friend, let me tell you first. This is not an acronym where we are talking about learn to say no. This is also very well, very, very easily used by actually illiterate people. When we actually get ourselves educated, sophisticated, and all that stuff, we actually have a lot of apprehension when we have to say no, because we become people pleasers. We become someone who wants to please everyone, be it in the boardroom, be it in the family, be it in the friends, and anywhere. But people who are illiterate are very, very innocent at heart, and they will be very, very clear to say no if they cannot deliver it. So that has been my experience from coaching various people, well, illiterate as well as literate. Because when I go coaching, I don't only go coaching with a white collar or a job which is with the tie, suit, and everything. I don't know if they call it as white collar, and I might not be right in using that acronym. But I also go to the shop floor where people have only studied maybe a third grade, fourth grade, or a fifth grade standard, which means they're absolutely not very, very well educated, but they know when to say no. If you tell them that this is your job and this is what you should do, they would say yes, but then they would immediately say, if I do this, who will do that? Which is my core value, which is my core responsibility. So I hope I've answered your question. And again, connecting back to what Bharti said about what happens actually when you say no. What happens to you as an individual? Well, it gives you more time to do something that you love. It gives you more time to do something that you like. It gives you more time to do something that you're passionate about. And that is why Paulo Coelho has said, don't say maybe if you want to say no, which means he says, if you don't want to say yes, or you might say, maybe I'll come, maybe I'll join you for dinner. Why maybe? Why are you creating hopes for someone who is asking you? Why are you creating that expectations? Because expectations hurt. Instead, be polite and say, no, I have something at home tonight and I won't be able to join you. That's fine. But I've seen so many people who say maybe and think that at the last minute they will give some stupid reason and cancel it. You might do that. Imagine the person who is booking the table or is booking something for you and is expecting you to come, and you're the only person that has been invited. How bad that person would feel. The same thing applies in the corporate room. You're sitting in an office, you're having a meeting with all your team together. Your manager asks you something and he's asking, would you be able to deliver? You, in your heart, know that you're not competent, capable to do that. You end up saying yes. What happens? You've invited stress. Secondly, you are trying to prove that you know everything. You're trying to prove that you're worthy. You're trying to prove that you are something. Why do you need to prove it to others? Be confident and say, well, I thank you for the opportunity, but this time I will pass it is because I'm not ready or I'm not prepared. But today, because we are in a race, we all are running. And what happens is we don't want to miss any opportunity. We want to grab all the opportunity that comes to us, resulting we multitask, we lose our focus, and the quality of job that we deliver ends up being maybe 60, 70, 80%. And what we lose? We lose our happiness, we lose our sense of fulfillment, and we don't feel gratitude towards ourselves, our jobs, our surrounding. So always remember, give yourself the permission to say no to anything that makes you unhappy, that drains your energy, or that gives you stress. And that, my friend, is a very, very simple way of understanding for what you should say no. What do you think, Bharti, about it?
Yes, absolutely, Sagar. And you rightly said maybe really puts people into hope. And there's another word that people quite often use, and that's the word try. They use the word say, okay, I'll try.
I'll try.
I'll try. And that really builds up the hope that, okay, at least he or she will do something and it'll happen. So what you're doing is you're putting the person in a very positive, hopeful situation that yes, she's going to try. And at your back of your mind, you're very clear that I'm not going to do this, but I'm just buying time and I might end up giving any excuse which you mentioned. So, and I really keep saying this to many of my participants who come for the NLP program that never use the word try if you're not sure. Just say I can do this or I cannot do this or I don't have the time or bandwidth to do this right now. But the moment you say try, that will put into a very odd situation. And I do remember one example. It was a very funny example. If you're okay, we can share that example. The incident happened that when my uncle was up for the surgery, all right,
Mhm.
and everything was like, the nurse was checking the blood pressure, everything is normal, the anesthesian was there, and they had the OT was getting ready for him, and he was quite happy and okay. He said, okay, I will go through a surgery, and we were all there. And it was all fine, everything was thumbs up, and he was about to enter into the operation theater. That is where the doctor came with wearing mask and gloves and everything, and he said, all right. And he said, young man, instead of saying old man, he said, young man, don't worry, we are all going to be with you, and I will try my best to give this to do your surgery well. And my uncle looked at him and said, are you going to try to do the best? And that is where his blood pressure shot up, and his heartbeats pumped up high. He was nervous and he said, I don't want to go to the operation theater. Please, I don't want to do this. And literally, they started checking the pulse, they started checking the BP. It really was not okay to give him anesthesia. He was brought out of the OT and he was back to the room, and he said, what happened suddenly? And we were all panicked. I said, he was all right a moment before. And when everybody dispersed, and I spoke with him and I said, what happened? And he said, Bharti, the doctor said he's going to try. Am I a guinea pig that he's going to experiment on me?
I can
Now,
understand the
you can
situation.
imagine the word try, how this word actually puts person into a very different situation.
Yeah.
But yes, that was one of
Yeah, but then
situations
we
I
have
remember.
we have intelligent people saying, "Try until you succeed."
Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. You can't
Well,
just be trying it. I'll complete this. You can't just be trying it without you have a productive mindset. You can't be just trying it without you have that proactive approach, without you have that entire focused goal that I want to live an integrated life. You can't just keep trying every time.
absolutely. Imagine the doctor said, "Maybe you will come out alive."
My God, that
So
that
that, we are laughing today, but I'm sure the uncle would have
yeah.
been in a very bad situation that
Oh
day.
yeah.
So God bless him, and we thank him. We are grateful that he gave us such a good experience, so that we understand it's not about trying. Sometimes At some places, you need to be confident. And the same
Yeah.
thing applies for life. Now,
Yes.
that brings us to a very, very interesting topic, Bharti. How many of us have a smartphone?
Oh, we
All
all
of
have.
us? We all have,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Do we know that smartphone keeps buffering when it does not have internet?
Oh, is it?
It keeps trying, right? It keeps trying. And how irritating it is. How
Yeah.
irritating it is, right? And
Yeah.
that's exactly. Remember Windows 95, those amazing days when we had those beep, 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 trrr, and then the internet would
Oh,
connect.
yes. That was highly irritating.
But that was trying. So this is how it feels when you say, I will try. I'll try my best. So don't say all those things when you're not confident. Don't say yes to things which put you into mediocrity, because the minute you can't perform well, you end up being not at the top, but at the bottom. Now, that brings me to a very important example using the smartphone again. That a smartphone, if it does not have a battery, will it allow you to make calls? If the battery is 1% or the battery gets zero, does it allow you to call anyone without charging? The answer is no. The answer is very simple no. It's a very, very powerful word in English dictionary with just two things: no. N-O, no. I'm sure we all remember and know the answer: the mobile doesn't work. The same way, we are all having a, a defined or a finite proportion of energy and a finite proportion of time with us during those moments, right? And that is exactly the reason why we should take care of our time and our energy. Otherwise, if you keep saying yes, you're actually fulfilling other people's wish, and your wish are just delayed. Now, here we have an interesting question from Mr. Malik again. How hard it is to accept a no? It's absolutely very hard for those. Let me tell you my own example. So when I got married to Mansi in 2011, I made a deal with her that you will not call me during my office hours or when I'm in work unless and until it's a absolute emergency. But the same thing I did tell my boss when I went on a holiday, that you will not call me or nobody from the factory should call me unless and until it's a emergency. Now, my wife accepted it. She loved me. Or maybe she just accepted it through a pressure. But my company and my boss didn't. And he's like, well, you're the VP. And he started giving all the reasons. You know how the persuasive and those things come up. And I had to be very clear and say, boss, when I cannot have my family call me during my office hours and you don't like that, why would my family be happy when I am continuously on the phone during my holidays? Now, I can guarantee 80 to 90% of the listeners right now who are working in corporate will not agree with me. And they will say, Sagar, if you do that, or if I do that, listening to you, my job will be sacked. And that's exactly what we should stand for. We should be clear, confident when we talk and when we negotiate with our teams. And when we do that, Malik, it will not be hard to accept the no, because you are justifying the no. And sometimes we just don't need to justify the no when it's against our core values and ethics. But sometimes, yes, we can justify our no because we love for them, we care for them, and it's okay to justify to them. But most of the time, we don't have to justify why we're saying no, because the minute you start justifying, you're not confident. So I hope that answers the question. And yes, Vineet says we have to learn to say politely, well, sir, I'll use चाणक्य नीति साम दाम दंड भेद कुछ भी कर लो अगर मुझे वो चीज नहीं करनी मैं नहीं करूंगा. So learn to say politely, diplomatically, politically, or be blunt, because there are some times, there are some incidents where you have to say no. Well, Again, bringing to an incident where I was there as a VP in a company. I wouldn't name the 2 3 companies that I've worked with, but at a point of time, someone said that, well, I would need XYZ amount if I sign the purchase order. Now, I was very clear that no matter what, I will not allow that to happen because my quality speaks, my integrity speaks, and what I supply speaks. I said no to that. And that is the reason why it is being said that saying no is a luxury. Are you rich enough to have that luxury? Now, that richness, does it mean for money? No. It means richness of your core values, richness of your ethics. Yes, it might sound very, very absurd that in today's world, if we don't do that, we cannot do business. That completely depends on what your approach is. There are so many people that I see that who give 45 days credit, 60 days credit, 90 days credit, 120 days credit. There is no end to it. But I have few clients who say cash and carry. You pay me in advance and I'll supply you. Yes, they do a less business, but they have a peaceful sleep. They absolutely don't have any stress. They have an impeccable quality. They have respectful vendors because vendors are ready to supply to them because they pay to their vendors on time. The suppliers who they work with are absolutely happy because the deliveries are bang on time because there is no juggling for payments. Now, that is the power of saying no at the right place. You cannot say no to someone who is in a family, who is in need of you, and who has nobody else than you to take care. At that time, you have to leave everything and go to them. So you have to be very, very judicious when you say no. You have to be very, very clear and have a clear, productive mindset when you have to say no. But we have someone who has a knowledge of why and how you should be proactive and think on what are the things that you should say no. So why am I taking that time rather than why don't I pass that ball to our proactivity queen, where she would let us know what are the ways that we can be proactive and make ourselves prepared to say no. Yes, Bharti, the ball is in your
And
court.
And very rightly you said, Sagar, about how hard it is to accept no, and building up what you already said to Firdaus. Uh, it is actually very hard to say to accept that somebody has said no. Like if somebody says no to me, I don't like it. I really don't like it. So it is difficult. What I have learned to do is I go back to understanding the situation of the person.
Okay.
What would have happened and the person said no? There has to be something for saying no. Like I gave the example of vendor. A business is coming to him and he's saying no. So when he gave me more detailed, explanation, information about how the process is and how he's working as a business, my respect for him increased. My trust increased because he is putting so much of efforts in committing and fulfilling the orders that he has already taken in hand. So that trust and respect increased. And that's how I started accepting the no from people because they're genuinely saying no, that they have limited period. Like many a times it has happened that I do request a couple of my friends to complete certain orders or do something for me. And they come back and they politely say no. I don't like it that moment because that's our emotion. It's an instant reflex that we have. So we do feel a pinch. And we go back and put ourselves in that shoes and we empathize and we find out, we understand what could have happened. And they said no. Why this no? So when I look at this whole understanding of learning to say no, and if you're not saying no, that means you are saying yes to everything. So if you look at it that way, it is nothing but when I'm saying yes to something, I need to be promising myself and promising the person to complete that task. That's why I'm saying yes. That means I need to give out that energy to whatever task that I've said yes for, and give out that energy to the person to whom I have committed. So I'm just giving out energy every time I'm saying yes. And the more
Brilliant.
you keep saying yes, you are giving out energy all the time. And what rightly Sagar mentioned, that if you are using a smartphone, if you are using a phone which has a mobile which has a battery, it runs at its own capacity. And if you keep on using it for a longer time, the battery gets drained. And there comes a point where you hunt for a charger and you want to charge your mobile for some time. So you will have to literally leave the phone for some time so that it gets charged. And then you pick up and you start using it again. Now, we are not smartphones and we need that energy. So if you are saying yes to some things and keep on doing it, that means you're giving out energy to the world continuously. When are you going to take the energy or regain the energy back for the next hours or for the next day? When are you going to do that? And if you keep on doing this juggling or hustling, that's not the integrated life that you're looking for. And that means that if you're giving out the energy, you need to regain the energy back by saying no politely, that I can do this much and I need to finish this part. And what Sagar also mentioned, that there are right situations. There are situations where you must say no. Cash and carry. Absolutely bang on. Say no for credit, say no for certain things. I know one of my friend who is having a fantastic gallery, ceramic gallery, and he asked me the same question, that our entire business is on credit and half of my day only goes on calling people. It's like I've become a Vasuli Bhai. And it's not the kind of life that I want, because at the end of the day, I get stressful. Even at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., this is what the exchange of calls are happening. And that's not the life that I want to live.
But you tell him to change and he will won't.
Yeah. The moment I said you need to learn to say no, you need to start somewhere. You need to just pick up one thing and say this is how it is. Create those boundaries, create those ways how you can deal your business with, how you can deal your teams, you can deal with your managers, deal with your organization. You need to learn to do that, otherwise you'll always be in that hustle bustle kind of a situation, and your battery, your energy will keep on draining, and there are thousands of people who will suck that energy from you. So you need to learn to say no in certain situations and keep regaining that energy back, because you have other areas to take care. You have relationships, you have health, you have your fun, enjoyment, entertainment, you have your peaceful self, meditative life for yourself. You have so many things. And that is where the energy element is of utmost importance. So be aware where you're putting your energy, be aware where you need to say no politely, and keep it for the next time. Yes, Sagar.
So, Bharti, we have a question from Mr. Malik again. And would you love to take it? Because I think it relates to being proactive first.
Uh-huh.
So, the question is there on the display.
Okay. How is no determined? Okay. Gender differences. Okay, that's a very interesting question we have today. Okay. So when you say that, when we are learning to say no, and there are situations where you say no, there are factors that determine this. So what are those factors? And in a couple of situations Saga did mention, and he started the talk show by giving those factors that will determine in the situations where you say no. The first is your time factor. We know that we have those 24 hours, and in those 24 hours we need to work and also give time to so many areas of our life. So time is one factor. The second factor is the energy that I just spoke about. The third factor is your life itself, the integrated life, which refers to the values that you have, which refers to the ethics that you have. It also refers to your happiness, your own peace of mind. It refers to your fulfillment. At the end, you should be fulfilled and satisfied by your heart. It refers to your gratitude that you show to people and to show to universe, show to God, show to us, yourself. It refers to that integrated life. And these are the factors that will determine whether you are saying yes for the situation or you are saying no for the situation. So, proactively, you need to be very much aware about what are my goals that I want to focus on, what are my priorities or important tasks that I need to complete, who all are important in my life. So, if you have to choose between a boss and a wife, whom would you choose? Now, this boss is at a workplace, this boss is at your home. So, um, so I'm just giving a random examples, but what I'm saying is you need to be very clear about whom you need to give importance
Yeah,
and why, and also be aware about your own capacities, capabilities, and your skill set, your entire attitude of living the life. If you have those factors very clear in your head, you will choose the situations in the right spirit, in the right way, and whomsoever is, um, requesting or sometimes persuading you to say yes for certain things, you can politely say no. So these are the factors that will determine when to say no and how different it works among different groups of people. Okay, I don't see it as a gender difference here, that how gender will play a role or how different groups will play a role. Probably what it could be leading to is when you are saying no to certain situations, you are either saying yes. When you are saying no to certain situations, are you keeping the person in mind that, okay, if he has come, I will say no, or if she comes, I'll say no? Or are you keeping the task in mind that, oh, this is the task, I better don't involve myself in doing this? All right. So if you're keeping those factors in mind, then probably you may want to relook at it and say that, is it because of other factors, which is like outside, or is it because of something internal that I am capable of and I know it better? That is the clear indication that you might need to look at it, because it's all about how you are projecting yourself rather than how others wants to perceive you. So the
yeah,
moment you project yourself in the right way, people will respect you, people will politely accept you, and they will accept your no's as well. There won't be any hesitation in accepting no. In fact, they will come to you and they will ask for it rather than requesting and pressuring you to take up something. And that's the
true.
kind of I think you may need to train people in doing this, because once or twice it will take efforts, and they will eventually people surrounding you, eventually they will accept that this is the kind of person you are, and you'll be respected and in your circle, in your groups. Yes, Sagar.
No, that's bang on. So we have one more point from Vineet. He's saying practical life, it is not applicable, ma'am. Vineet, we're not talking about practical life. We are talking about the integrated life. Well, we are all living, we are all doing business, we are all coaching, we are all interacting with people. But at the same time, tell me a situation where I'm sure in life you would have said no for something. Now, that is absolutely the practical life, but you chose it because either it was conflicting with your core values, with your ethics, or it was sucking away your energy, or you genuinely did not have time. Now, what we are talking about is not to be a yes man, not to be a people's pleaser, because that also is a very, very bad situation. Let me give you an example. You are really caring about someone, and let's say they have a very, very bad vocal voice, but you keep pleasing them and you keep saying them, yes, you have an amazing voice, yes, you have an amazing voice. And because of you keep saying them yes, and you keep pleasing them and you keep doing them, they apply for a national championship, they get into there and they make a fool out of themselves. Now, how embarrassing that would be. So we are saying learn to say no, not only to the work, not only to someone when some things are being delegated to you, but we are saying Learn to say no when things are not okay, when it is not okay to say yes. Before giving commitment to someone, learn to say no. Before, agreeing to some orders, learn to say no if you don't have the capacity. Well, if you have the capacity and you want to run away from that person, like Bharti just said, that would be a wrong situation. Then you need to analyze yourself and think, are you being judgmental, or are you being partial? Because that's not the way that we are talking about. We are talking about living the integrated life and learn to say no only to save your energy, your time, your emotions, because that will lead to happiness, gratitude, and fulfillment. Now, if you don't take care of your time and your energy, and you keep pleasing people and you keep saying yes for everything that comes to you, only to show that you can fulfill your roles and responsibilities, you can take care of the work, you can take care of the workload, you are passionate to grow, you are actually destroying your own health, you're destroying your own life, you're destroying your own mental stability. And what does it lead to? It leads to episode number 2, burnout. And burnout will then destroy everything that you have. So that is why we are bringing this topic, this element of learn to say no in today's episode, because it also improves, or rather doubles, your productivity as per the study done in 2017. Now, why does it double your productivity? Is because it gives you a lot of free time to think and utilize it for the things that you love to do. And that, my friend, is a very powerful thing. Always remember the example that me and Bharti both spoke about, the smartphone. The battery is dead, it will say no. The same way we are human beings. If we don't recharge ourselves and we give out energy every time we keep saying yes, because I don't know to take names, but there are big four companies where I see so many people sulking out their young age, their teenage, or their young married life, just to complete the assignments even after they come home, and they keep saying yes to their bosses, because their bosses have said yes to their bosses and their bosses have said yes to the customer. Why the hell do you need to say yes and destroy your own life just for some appreciation? What are you going to do with that appreciation when you waste 20 years of your life sulking and making presentations every day, coming home into the night, and your wife and your kids are just waiting for you to spend time with them? And after that, you might say, "Oh, I'm not well. I'm not feeling good. I'm obese. I've got this problem. I've got that problem." Well, who told you to do that? And the answer will come, well, I need to grow, I need to go up the corporate ladder, I need to earn lots of money, I need to have a brilliant life. On the hospital bed? For what? And that is the point which tells us, learn to say no before it's too late. Enjoy the luxury of your time and your energy, and that will help you to lead the integrated life. There's always an opportunity, there's always a chance which is lucrative to say yes. Does it align with your focused goal? Otherwise, there is no end to this rat race. If you want to become a person who earns 1 crore, you will find somebody who has got a salary of 2 crores. You reach there, you'll find somebody who has got a salary of 10 crores. You reach there, you'll find somebody who's got a salary of 100 crores. You reach there and you'll find somebody else. Is there an end to it? The end to it is here, the productive mindset. What do you want for your life? What do you want to achieve in your life? Do you want to achieve sense of fulfillment, happiness, and gratitude, and live a life which is joy and blissful, or you want to end up the life with regrets and guilt? Choice is yours. And that's exactly why we have brought this episode. So now we will take to the next point, where we will talk about how you can say no with ease, with comfort, and being polite. Before that, yeah, Vinith is saying unable to maintain work life balance. Sir, let me explain that time and again now. Let's talk about a juggler in the circus. You see a juggler, he always keeps juggling the balls or some instruments or some weapons or knives or anything. Do you anywhere think that the person who is juggling is relaxed? is happy, is enjoying, or is he stressful? Is he very, very extremely focused and with a lot of stress? Of course, he has done a lot of practice, but is it without any stress? Absolutely no. And that is exactly work life balance. Keep juggling, keep juggling, keep juggling. Or check out the Indian Vedas, Puranas, and the mythologies that we have, or the old Vedas that we have, which talks about very simple theory. Do what is right, do what the time demands, do what you can do with your best capability, and that is nothing but the integrated life. Integrate everything, and you don't have to balance everything. Everything becomes integrated. And remember, if you're driving a two-wheeler and four-wheeler, all the gears, all the mechanism, all the machinery is integrated, and that is when you drive faster. And the brake in the car is nothing but an opportunity for you to say no, and that's a brake. And when you have brakes, you can drive faster. So for that, that brings us to the point where we've explained you why you should say no, what are the benefits of saying no, and what happens if you don't say no. You burn out. And to know more about burnout, check episode number 2. Yes, Bharti.
Absolutely, Sagar. And living a work life balance or maintaining that work life balance doesn't work at all. And hence, the integrated life really works because you're focusing on a sense of fulfillment, you're focusing on your happiness, you're focusing on being grateful. And when you have these three as your focus, you will take actions, decisions, your planning, your proactive approach, everything that you will do in a productive way will lead to that kind of life because your focus is absolutely that. And hence, to live that integrated life, one of the elements is that you must learn to say no to certain situations and don't put yourself to a stage where you have drained your energy so much, because a mobile phone can go switch off and then you have the charger to switch on, but in humans we don't have that. We don't have that option. We
Extra
drain
life.
our, we don't have that extra life at all. So don't go to that point of draining yourself and burning out so much that there is no comeback from that point.
Yeah,
You
true.
can't afford to do that. So you must, when you know that you have certain ways of doing things, when you have certain capacities and capabilities, you respect your own body, because if you're saying yes to everything, that means you're not respecting yourself. That means you are not putting yourself into your importance list. Somebody else is important for you, something else is important. And that is not the right way or a good way of living an integrated life. And that's a choice we are making all the time. We have that as a choice. You may take that as a choice and live a integrated life, or you become a juggler and you keep balancing your work life. That's a choice you make. And with this, we would really want to come to this point where we are sharing some of the ways to say no. So, what are the ways to actually say no when there are situations that arises? So I'll give you some of the, say, 5 examples, and similarly, Sagar will give you 5 examples or more to tell you what are the ways to say no. So when somebody comes up and you really want to say no, you politely say that, thank you for thinking about me and thinking of me, and I will have to pass it this time. Thank you for thinking of me, and I will have to pass it this time. Now, this one sentence, if you listen carefully, I'm using the word and I'm not using the word but. Because the moment you use the word but in between, it but outs or it eliminates the positive part that you have said. And the first half of the sentence is, thank you for thinking about me. So you're thanking the person, and I will have to pass it this time. So it's a very polite way of saying no. The another example is, the task doesn't align with my work at hand right now, and I can source somebody for you if you are fine with it. So if the task comes to you and you can simply say that it doesn't align with my work because I already have a lot of work at hand, but I can source somebody for you. So that's another way of saying no. The third way of saying is, I would love to help, and there's a lot I need to finish before I say yes to something. All right. So you are saying that I would love to help you because that's your emotion, that's your feeling for the person, that I would really and genuinely want to help you. And there's a lot that I need to finish before I even say yes to something. So that means you are not directly, or sometimes, people are not ready to accept no. You're not bluntly saying no, but in a way, you are training them that they can expect a no from you when the situations arises. The fourth one is, I can't do it right now because my team is focusing on a project which requires my involvement. I can't do it right now because my team is focusing on a project which requires my involvement. So that means you are, in a way, saying that you are already occupied with certain things which is important for you, and hence you can't do it right now. The fifth way is, I know this isn't the answer you want to hear, but I have a bandwidth of work and it is stretched already. And being very absolutely genuine and authentic in saying that I know this isn't the answer, but I have a bandwidth to work and it is already stretched. So I will have to pass it this time. And these are some of a very subtle and easy ways to say no to people who come to you. And they will understand. They really understand. There's no way that they can't understand. If they are not understanding, probably they need little more information from you to understand your situation. And when you give that little more information, they accept that, okay, this time it's not happening. Yeah. Sagar, over to you.
Yeah, brilliant explanation and brilliant points. So, to summarize that, we can say, before I give you my 5 pointers, we can say very, very straightforward of what Bharati and me, we both were going to give you questions are: be assertive when you want to say no, but at the same time, be polite. Second, be aware of your priority and align it with your focus goals. Third, request more time or delegate it to someone else, provide someone else, give some other options. And the last but not the least, show gratitude before you say no, like Bharti said, that thank you very much. So, similar examples, I would have 5 ways of saying no is being very straightforward, saying, unfortunately, I have too much to deal with today. So it's very similar to the bandwidth situation, but we can be very, very upfront if you have the relationship with that person that unfortunately I have too much to do today. Second, being polite. I'm flattered by your offer. If there's some salesman or somebody who's trying to persuade you for that, so you can say, I'm flattered by your offer, but I'll pass it this time. But thank you very much. If it's a party invitation in the night and you have a dinner date with your wife, you can just say, that sounds like so much fun. Well, I have to go home because I have a dinner date with my home minister, or I have a lot going at my home today, and I will give it a pass. If that doesn't fit your core values or ethics, you can be very, very clear and say, it's not comfortable and I'm not comfortable with this thing. So I would give it a pass. Or you can be very clear and say, it doesn't fit in my core values and I would genuinely be happy to pass it and give it to someone else. Or if you're not good, if you don't have really time, or you're upset, or you're down with your emotions, because remember, productive mindset is about efficiency, effectiveness when it meets the right emotions. So you can be polite and say, I think now it's not the good time for me to take up this responsibility, so thank you very much, and move on. Last but not the least, you can always say that I've committed to something else and I would love to finish that work before I say yes to you. So you're not saying no to them, but you're saying, give me some more time. So these are different ways, and there are many, many ways that you can reach out to. If you want to know more ways, you can always download the checklist that we share on the website and enjoy the free checklist absolutely for you. And the link is right here below where you can check the integratedlife.co.in And the thing is, learn to say no. And it's very simple. All you have to do is go there, enter your name and surname, enter the email address, and it's all yours. Why do you need to enter your email address? Is because we want to authenticate if you're the right user. Secondly, if you have any other queries, our email addresses are available in the checklist, and you can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your queries and be with you. If you have liked this session and you would love to watch all other sessions, the website is all yours. And don't be selfish. Share this with your friends. Let them understand, learn to say no. If you are in a corporate, share it with your boss. That's a subtle way of making him understand the power of learn to say no. And why don't you make it as a wildfire, pass it on to everyone? Because if we let the chain go up and down in both ways, and people in the society start understanding and appreciating it, we all will be benefited from it. And this is exactly the sole purpose of me and Bharti doing this show, because we want you all to live a life which is completely full of sense of fulfillment, happiness, and gratitude. And that is known as the integrated life.
And here's what I would want to add, Sagar. And this is what I was reading a book, and in that book it says that if you are if you are gaining knowledge from somebody or something, and you are keeping that knowledge with yourself, you are selfish. But if you share that knowledge and pass it on to others, that this is what I learned, and this is interesting that you may learn from this as well, and that will be a very selfless contribution to everybody, to the people surrounding you. So
Yeah.
be that selfless being and share the knowledge that you're gaining from all the corners, all the pockets that you have. The second thing I want to share is, if by any chance in today's episode we may have not able to pick up your questions which were there in the comment section, we would really urge you to send us an email and put up your questions in that email. And you have the website, which is the integratedlife.co.in. You have the email ID is already mentioned there. And every episode that you will watch, there's a PDF. That PDF is really, we sit together and we brainstorm the questions, the checklist, the statements, and then we create it. And the whole idea of putting that PDFs and the documents is that once you have watched the episode, that's the knowledge that you have acquired. Now you need to put that knowledge into somewhere, to some actionable points, to some practice, and that's where the PDF comes into picture. So download that and complete it. If you want us to review it, if you want us to look at it, you can send us an email and we'll be very happy to reply to you. So if by any chance we have missed out your questions, do email us and we'll be happy to write you back with the answers that we have. Until then, next Tuesday, we'll be back with one more episode of The Integrated Life, sharp at 9 p.m. And we look forward to your involvement, your engagements, to your comments, your questions. And it is really encouraging for both of us when we see those encouraging comments, the questions that you put in for us. And it is really, really amazing. So stay tuned with us every Tuesday, 9 p.m. We'll be right back with one more episode. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, be with your loved ones, and love yourself, because you really want to live an integrated life and not balancing your work and life. Yes.
Absolutely. So, this is me and Bharti signing off, and we wish you the integrated life. Till then, see you next Tuesday. Thank you, Bharti, and have a very good
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you. Bye bye.